let's try a reharmonization of this song that is either called Beethoven's Ninth Symphony or Ode to Joy or Joyful, Joyful. And this one, well, it goes something like... And it kind of has a special place in my heart as a reharm because I think this might be, as I was getting ready to do this video, I realized that this might be one of the first songs that I actually transcribed a reharmonization of. Even though I didn't know any of the terms at the time, there was this movie called Sister Act 2 that I might have watched one or two or a lot of times, and it had a version of this song that used the chords something like... Let's try it again. Probably messing up some of that, but it was something like that, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing. So I went and like tried to pick apart all these random chords and stuff, and as it turns out, it was just this up here is just two chords back and forth, but then with all of these other substitutions and stuff, and yeah, so this might have played a significant role in my love of breaking songs apart and adding other chords into them. So let's just start off with our track here, and these are just the regular straight up chords that are written F and C back and forth the whole time. Something like this. So that's the most basic version, and let's get to work on reharmonizing this thing. Let's just kind of focus today on chord reharmonization. There is also reharmonizing based on the bass line, and then there's also reharmonizing based on what the melody is. But for right now, let's just focus on the chords. And so the first thing is just harmonic generalization. That means just taking the key that we're in this case, we're in the key of F. You would know that because there's one flat there, or just because I told you we're in the key of F. And so we're going to just play other chords that are in the key of F. So this right here is an F. That's like a 1 chord in the key of F. This would be like a 2 chord in the key of F. So these are all chords that show up naturally within the key of F. And down here on the next page, you get a chart of all of the chords. So being in the key of F, using some harmonic generalization, these are ones that we could just kind of throw in at random. In fact, I'll just go straight through them. F, G minor, A minor, B flat, C, D, E, half diminished, E diminished, and then F. And we'll just see how that goes along with the track. 2, 3, 4. So that kind of works, and I just went straight through from F all the way up to F, and then there was time enough that we got all the way up through 2 octaves of that. I think we could also go in reverse, just straight back down. Now, usually a harmonic generalization is going to have some kind of pattern to it or flow, or there's going to be other reasons that you pick the chords other than just picking them randomly or going in a direction. But because when I pick that stuff out, you all tend to think that I like did some magical trick that I'm not telling you about. I'm just going to go in an obvious pattern here. This time I'm just going to go down. I don't know how it's going to sound. Let's find out. How did I know when to change? I know, I heard you through the internet. I heard you say, how did you know when to change the chords? It was kind of random and kind of just by like whenever it felt natural to move. So I'm picking relatively random times, and then I did on purpose land on an F at the end because that's the root of the key, and that's gonna feel like home base. So I did kind of hang out on G minor a long time just so I could wait, and land one with the end of the song. But that's harmonic generalization. Now, if we wanted to, we could go, again, I'm gonna try to pick these as randomly as possible so you can hear that like this stuff just kind of works. Occasionally you'll run into something that doesn't, but I'm going to go through them every other chord this time. So I'm going to go F, A minor, C, and then I'm going to go G minor, B flat, D minor, and then if there's time, we come back and do the F, A minor, C thing again and just see how far we can go. That sounds bad. So at the end, I ran out of time to get to the D minor, so I just went faster through the chords, and that seemed to work all right. Now, if I wanted to, do some other things here, if we tried to pick some of these on purpose, of course, if we had Kendra or one of you in the lesson, I would just have you pick random numbers, and we would just throw those in. We'll go 1, 4, 5, 2, 3. 1, 4, 5, 2, 3. I think that's what I said. Trust me, it's random. That's not a thing. 1, 4, 5, 2, 3. So those also, those weren't my favorite. I preferred the ones that just move straight up or straight down. But that's kind of harmonic generalization, is you can pick any chords. Now picking some other ones within the key. So those were all chords within the key. That was still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The chords pulled out of the key, but with a little bit more purpose and maybe hearing some other stuff in between to make the adjustments that would make it sound right. But if you've been to very many of these reharmonization lessons, you know there's tons of stuff that I do that sounds bad, and we just kind of go with it, or we just fix it on the fly. We just alter the things that we don't like. So, because ultimately that's what we're supposed to be doing anyway, is making music that we like. So then the next thing is this thing that accidentally leaks out anyway, just because for me playing 7s and 9s and 6s is easier than not playing them. So that just means that if I've got an F chord, instead of thinking about just an F, I'm going to play the notes that are also in the key but are extensions. So every other note starting on F, but not just for 3 notes like you would for a triad, a 3-note chord, but additionally a 4th note and a 5th note. So that'd be like an F. This would be maybe a G minor. We could have an A minor. This note isn't really in the key. So we'll have some of these other chords. So just by putting in the extensions, the 7s and the 9s on the chords, then even if I go back to this boring old thing right here, where is that? There we go. This boring old thing right here, if I just put the extensions on the chords, then it makes it sound a lot better automatically. So. Okay, maybe not better, but fuller, jazzier, even though I really hate that term. But it has more color, more depth in the chords. So adding 7s and 9s and then 6s, like that'd be a 6 right there. 1, 3, 5, 6. Instead of going every other note. Anyway, those are all options that you can do, and that I'm going to be using accidentally on purpose over these next sections here. So changing relative minors and majors, if you don't know what that is, that's all right. You're going to do it enough times eventually that you're going to get to know them. But basically what it is if you go to, let's take these guys over here. If you take any one of these major chords, for example, an F major chord, and you go to the 6th of the F major chord, that is a D minor. That is the note that the chord that you can substitute in for an F major. So on any F major, you can play a D minor instead, and then the other chord that we have is a C. On any C, you can substitute in an A minor. We don't have these other ones, but I'll show you. On an A, you could substitute an F sharp minor. On a B, you could substitute in a G sharp minor, or the other way around. If you had an E minor in some song, you could just go to the 6th column right here, find your E minor, and the relative major would be G. There's tons of other ways to find the relative majors and minors. We're not going to get into that right now because this is not a lesson about that, but I am going to substitute. We'll just take a few of these. Maybe I'll do that one and that one and that one. We'll just substitute those ones. So I'll go D minor, A minor. This one will be an A minor, and this one over here will be a D minor because those are the substitutions for the F and the C accordingly. Here we go. So same thing, just with those chords. So that's not bad. I've got some 7s and 9s in there, and then we throw the D minor and the A minor in there. Let's move on to the next thing. That's relative majors and minors. There were no minors for us to play the relative majors for, but there will be on the next song we do. And then substitution by number chart. So down here, these are some just common and scary substitutions for these chord numbers. So we already talked about over here how in the key of F, which is where we are, we've got the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, the 6 chord. Don't worry about the 7 chord. You're not going to run into that one a whole lot right now. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 can all be substituted for other things. So wherever we have a 1 chord, how do we know if we had a 1 chord? Well, if we're in the key of F, all of the Fs are 1 chords. So let's go back here and just number what we have. This is a 6. This is a 3. I'm just stealing this all off the chart, but not really off the chart because I got the chart memorized. But double check my work and see if this is correct. It should be a 6 to a 3 to a 1 to a 5 to a 1 to a 3 to a 6 to a 5 to a 1. And if we go back over here, our number chart at the bottom down here says that on any 1 chord, we could substitute in either a 6 or a 4 or a 3. So let's go ahead and pick the 4. I'm going to take one of the 1 chords, which is an F, and play a 4 chord instead. The 4 chord is 4 chord column B flat. So I'm going to play a B flat instead of an F for, let's say, this one right here. So that one becomes a B flat. And that's probably it for right now. Let's do some of the other substitutions. I've got a 3 chord up there. So instead of a 3 chord, I'm going to use a 1 over 3. So that means in this case, the 1 is the F and the 3 is the A. So I'm going to play an F over A instead of an A minor. So let's do this one right here. This A minor, we'll take that out and turn that into, as soon as my pen works. There we go. We'll take that one out and we'll turn that into a F over, sorry, I was thinking about something else. Turn that into an F over A. And let's do one more over here. We've got, what have we not done yet? A 6 chord. What else can I substitute out for a 6 chord? Right here, we could do a 4 or a 1 or a 2. Let's go ahead and pick a 2. These are really picked at random. I have no idea how this is going to sound. Right here, we'll try a 2. Oh, I do know how this is going to sound. I'm going to like that a lot. So, just using the substitution chart. I did a whole lot of them. I would recommend you only change 1 chord at a time if you're not already familiar with this stuff and know what's going to sound like ahead of time. What I'm doing is a terrible idea because it's going to end up sounding really bad in some cases. But this is what this one sounds like. So this part over here sounds pretty boring. We should do something in that section. Hopefully we'll be able to focus on that in the next one. But that's what the common one is. The special is where these guys don't work frequently. But I said I've got a 5 chord and a 1 chord up there that I'm not really digging either one of those. So then we could use, for the 1 chord, like a minor 5. So I'd go to the 5 chord, which is a C, and I'd play the minor version of it instead, C minor. So I'm going to do that instead of this one here, and bummer, I already know I'm going to really like this one. This is a C minor, we said. And what we can also do is, wherever we have a substitution, right now, right here, and this song has kind of a special thing going on in that we've got this long gap from there to there where there's no chords. So instead of doing a substitution, you can also just interpolate a chord. I think that's the right word, where you just take a chord and you stick it in the middle. So we can spread this out and like have the F be right there, and we can put in like this C minor right here. So it's kind of like a substitution, except I didn't take the old part out. I just stuck the new part in because there was enough room for me to do both of them. So I've got F, C minor, and then back to the F, because they're both in this case, both the F and the C minor are kind of have the same function. So I can play them back and forth because I've got enough time to do that. And then I'm going to play a C major there. This will be interesting. So 2, 3, 4. I don't like that at all. But just know that with the substitutions, you don't necessarily have to take out the old chord. If you got time to play both of them, play the old chord and the substitution, or the substitution and then the old chord. That one, I hate. That one is very, very, very bad. I'm going to take that one out. Instead, down here, we could try a minor one. I don't think I'm going to like that one either. But I'm definitely not going to like that one because, so instead of playing the 1, the suggestion here is try playing the minor 1. But my melody sits right here on this note that I had to change. So the melody is right there. It's going to sit on that 3 of the chord, and I'm going to try to change it to this one. I'm not going to like that at all. Now, if I was playing it and didn't have what's right now acting as the singer, which is this other piano track that I'm playing along with, then I could just change the note to be the one that I wish that it was, this guy right here. So first of all, the regular one with the track, this would sound terrible. I'm going to play an F minor right here instead of an F. That's going to sound like this. Yeah, so this sounds absolutely wretched because God of Glory, Lord, while I'm trying to play an F minor chord, those guys just fight with each other. But if I change the melody around, I could go. So I could change that melody, God of Glory, Lord of Love. But I don't have that option with this track, which is probably good in most of your cases because if you've got a singer who is actually singing these words, they're not going to know to change the notes when you go do your reharm stuff. So you want to be able to keep that melody consistent all the way through, unless you're doing solo piano stuff, and then get as crazy as you want to be. So I don't like the F minor in there either. That's two of these ones that I said I might not like at all that I ended up not liking. So I'm not going to use either one of those. This one right here I think could work, this minor 5 in place of the 5. So up here I've got this 5 chord right here, and I'm going to I'll try that same thing that I said before, where I just insert the other one, God of Glory, Lord of Love, and then we go to the B flat after that. That's going to sound like this. I'm going to wish that was just a C minor. I shouldn't have done that. You'll see why. I think I would like it more, though, if I had just taken out this C and played a C minor instead. That would sound like this. Okay, so moving on to the next things here. We've got sus4s, sus2s, and flat 5s on longer chords. So we got to go up and find some longer chords and see if there's time to suspend some of them. Honestly, right now, all of them are kind of longer chords because they're each like a measure each, and we haven't done much of like inserting other chords. We've just been taking out the old chord and putting in the new chord. So in this case, we've got, let's do this one, B flat right here. So we're gonna go B flat suspended, which this is a B flat, and this is the 3 of the chord. We're gonna take that up a half step to play a B flat suspended, and that's that might work actually. So we're gonna go B flat suspended to B flat. So B flat suspended, B flat. Let's do that on 2 more of these. Maybe we try that on this A minor. So we'll go A minor, sus to A minor. Now, the other thing we can do here is sus2. So this is a D minor. It looks like a D minor 6, but it's supposed to be a D minor. The 6 was what number it was in the key. So we've got a D minor, but we can make this a D minor 2 if we want, and then go from that to a D minor. So this is a D minor. This would be a D minor 2. So joyful, joyful. We adore the God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before the hail. Let's try it. 3, 4. So we got some options in there. This F is really bugging me because everything before that, like all this joyful, joyful part, sounds really unjoyful, unjoyful. I wish this one was like either back to the D minor or a G minor, but we really haven't run into a good excuse to do that except for the harmonic generalization stuff that we talked about before in the chord substitution chart. And I didn't choose to use that for that. So we'll just leave it like that. Lord of love. I'm looking for a place where I can put in a flat 5. Maybe there's not a good place for that. Most of the places where I'm seeing that I would want to put it in, like right here on Sun, there the melody note is the 5. So it's hard for me to put it in right before the next chord, right before that F, when the melody that I'm supposed to be playing at that time is that. So that melody with that, that's like the same thing we ran into earlier with the F, and we're trying to play an F minor and we had that A in there. It's just not going to work. So I'm going to skip over the flat 5. Oh, I didn't augment it instead of a flat 5. Same concept. I've altered the 5. So this is bummer. This is augmenting dominant chords, which is what I was just talking about, but we don't have really many 5 chords. I guess we've got this one here. Man, maybe it's gonna sound all right. Let's try it. It's supposed to be on my list. We're gonna try a C augmented to an F. I'm gonna hate this. Yeah, just for the exact same reason. I was just guessing. That's one. That's not working for me. I'm not going to keep that one in there. I think it sounds terrible. So what we're going to do is we're going to just insert some dominant chords. here's the idea. If you've got any chord, let's say you've got a D chord. Right before that D chord, you're allowed to play the 5 of the D chord. The 5 of the D chord is always the chord that is clockwise 1 notch on the circle of fifths. That's why this thing is down here. This right here is the 5 of that. So one of the reasons it's called the circle of fifths is this is always the 5 of that. That's the 5 of that. That's the 5 of that. And that's the 5 of that, and so on and so forth. So what we can do is, anywhere we want to up here, we can just put in the 5 of that next chord, and it kind of works out. So I'll pick this one right here. So before that, I'm going to play the 5 of C minor. The 5 of C minor is G. So I'm just going to throw in a G right there, just because. We'll go G right there. So we'll go G7. If you put a 7 on it, make it a dominant chord, that makes it all the more 5y-ish. Let's throw in a couple more of these. 5 right before this G is going to be a D. So we'll go D7. And then maybe one more. Let's do the... trying to pick one at random, but... there's all kinds of ideas that are coming to my mind that I don't want to pick on purpose. I'll put one right there. I don't know what that's going to do. That seems weird. D7 is the 5 of G, and G7 is the 5 of C minor. Ooh, I'm going to wish that I'd made that a D half diminished, but I can't do that yet. So we're going to go D7, G7, C minor. This is starting to get funky. So I'm just adding in 5s so that I can do stuff with 5s. There's so much I don't like. But I also didn't do it right, so let's try it one more time. Yeah, so a lot of stuff in there. For example, this G right here. God of glory. That glow is kind of fighting up against that F sharp in that D. So I don't like that D right there. I want to take that one out. And man, so what I'm fighting with is, and this is the problem with any reharm that you've already got some kind of an idea in your head of, or that you've already heard a reharm of, is that all I can hear right now is that stupid Sister Act 2 movie that they sing at the end with what I remember, I think, being a pretty cringy rap section after that, after the chorus of this thing. So I keep wanting to throw this C minor over here. Lord of love, hearts unfold like flowers. It's basically the same chords, but just slightly later. So it's hard for me to hear this thing, and that's going to happen to you on some song, is your ear's going to hear something, and trying to get out of that rut is quite difficult. Let's go over here and see if there is anything else that we can do that's cool. Modal borrowing, this just means that we're going to be stealing chords from other keys that have the same root. So in other words, we're in the key of F right now, and we already talked about all the chords you would have in the key of F. Well, in the key of F minor, we have a different set of chords. So we could steal one of these instead, an F minor or a G diminished or an A flat or a B flat minor or a C or a D flat or an E flat or an F. And in my experience, the B flat minor and the E flat are the easiest chords to borrow out of this other key that, again, has the same key center. It's still F is still home base, but all of the notes have changed to be F natural minor, and so now we're taking all of our chords from that. So usually you're going to want to focus on, with your modal borrowing, on that chord and that chord until you've tried out a lot of this stuff. And let's see if we've got a place up in here that we can throw in. Again, the two chords we want to throw in are E flat and B flat minor. Both of them kind of act as 5 chords, so it'd be a good place to substitute in, like right here on this 5 chord. We could put in E flat right there. Or do we have another C chord? We used to have another C chord right here. Man. Well, let's put one in here. We'll turn this one back into a C chord. So we've got the 5 chord there. We're going to get rid of the 5 chord because we're just lacking 5 chords at this point. And we're going to instead put in a B flat minor. And this, I'm guessing, is going to be especially cool coming off of a B flat suspended to a B flat to a B flat minor. So that B flat suspended to B flat to B flat minor. Then I'm going to hate that one again. That D7, I'm going to get rid of that one because that's going to have that same problem with that G fighting against that F sharp in there. So I'm just going to hang on to B flat minor for that whole time. Then I'm going to go to G minor. This might be interesting. Not my favorite, but there's some interesting stuff in there. I think this is the point in the lesson where I'm just gonna start changing the chords based on keeping all my favorites and then deleting the others and see if we can come up with something cool in here. So this thing, I like that. That again. Okay, so the stuff in there, the D minor tune. This doesn't fit the song at all. I gotta totally ignore the lyrics. Ode to Joy also doesn't sound very, yeah, it doesn't fit any of the lyrics that have been put with the song. But when we slow it down, we put a D minor 2 in there and an A minor suspended. So maybe we keep this whole top part dark. I'm gonna get rid of this F here. And I'm gonna put in a G minor to a G minor. And again, this is all just based on preference and taste. There's no magic here. And these are all options that we've already talked about, but I just didn't end up in the same order that I wanted them. So we have joyful, joyful. Nope. Glory, Lord. Lord. So I'm going to back this C minor up. And this is another thing you can do is if you got some chord, there we go. You got some chord that you like, but you wish there was something after it. Or if you just want to try it out, you just, if there's space, you can just move it over. So we're going to play this C minor here, and that's going to leave me room here to put in my F7, C minor to F7 to B flat. Why? because I can, and also because that thing that we talked about before, where you can just take any chord and put the 5 of it before it. Well, the 5 of a B flat is an F7. So this is the thing we already talked about before. I've got this B flat coming up right here, and I want something that leads into it a little bit better. The C minor was not leading into the B flat the way I wanted, so the F7 will lead into the B flat very nicely. But that means that I had to move the C minor back to here. So now I've got joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love, hearts unfold like flowers before thee, hail, hail, as the sun above. I don't really like the E flat in there either. Hail thee as the sun above. I guess I'll keep it. Hail thee as. I'm just going to throw one C suspended in here. There we go. C suspended. So we got G minor to C suspended to E flat 7 to F6. I think this should be our last time through. This is weird enough. We could call it a day on this. Nah, I don't like it. Let's keep going. So make this thing a little bit weird. On long chords, we can alternate with the 5. We kind of already talked about that. That just means that if you got a long F chord and you decide, well, I could play the C before that, you could just go back and forth between the F and the C and the F and the C. So if you got a long chord, then throw a 5 in before it or in the middle of it or anywhere, and you use that to alternate back and forth. So that would be like, if we're going to go with the originals here, and in this section right here, I told you that this thing, it was so long over here, and we got this F chord. We could go F, C, F, and then C. So we could go joyful, joyful. Well, let's try it with the track. So it's just a really long F, so I threw the 5 of F in and went back and forth between those two. But I don't like that for what we're doing now, because this top part, we're keeping that all dark and moody and brooding. Like that. What was that? God of yeah, God of glory. I'm going to go F over C, which is like a C suspended. Yeah, I'll do C suspended because that's one we've talked about. C suspended. God of glory, Lord of love. We haven't talked about, yes, we have. So that's, I want to go here. I'm going to rip out this B flat. I'm not digging any of that. Goodbye. Over here, instead of the F, we're going to use the relative minor. Why? Because I like it. Lord of love. And here I'm going to play the 5 of that D minor. Over here, this is going to be an A7 that is going to be the 5 of that next chord, that D. That A7 is going to lead to that D minor. Now, I'm probably going to go ahead and make this an A7 over C sharp. So there's our A7, and then I'm going to want to play the C sharp because that's going to lead nicely from what I was playing in the bass here. A C to a C sharp to a D. So that root movement, that's just going to be a nicer move there. So joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, full like. I can't get that stupid sister act progression out of my mind. Hearts unfold like flowers before the hail, the as the sun above. Hail the as the. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so then I just need something in between hearts and a hail. So somehow I'm going to get from a D minor to a G minor. Man. Hearts unfold like some like be. Yeah, sure. So I'll just move hearts unfold like flowers be. We didn't really talk about this one, but I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. So this is just that same thing we were talking about before, the harmonic generalization, where I'm just kind of moving around in the key. The problem is hearts unfold like flowers be for thee. I want to land on B flat right there. Well, if I just go down D minor over C or something C-ish, F over C, something over C, and then I go to my next chord right here, B flat. Well, now I've gotten to the B flat too early, and I really want to land on the B flat right there. Maybe I could just keep going down, though. Yeah, Jamin, do that one. Never mind. Hearts unfold like flowers before the hail, the as the sun above. Okay, I don't think that's what they did in Sister Act, which is a miracle. We got out of here with something that wasn't that progression. Here we go. Yeah, one more time. It's really melancholy, man. Yeah. Oh no. I know the rap. Joyful, joyful Lord, be worthy. And in my heart I put none before thee. Because since I was a youngster, I came to know that you was the only way to go. So I had to grow and come to an understanding that I'm down with the king. So now I'm demanding that you tell me, are you down with G? Because all I know is I'm down with G-O-D. You know G-O-D? Wow. I haven't done that in like 20 years. Yes, it is an extremely cringy rap part. I was correct. Okay, I'm going to try to bury that in the video so nobody sees that by playing this through one more time. There we go. So anyone who skipped to the end didn't catch the part before that. Wonderful. Well, until next time, try some of this stuff out on your own. Send me video submissions, the chords, the songs that you've reharmonized with these other chord options, and send me your complaints, comments, suggestions. Love you. Good luck. Have fun.